The mysterious encounter. The village of Darvan lay at the edge of a vast, unending forest. People rarely dared to cross into its depths after sunset, for the elders spoke of shadows that moved on their own and whispers that called out from the trees. But one night, a young woodcutter named Armin, weary from a long day's work, found himself returning later than usual. The moon was hidden behind heavy clouds, and the forest was draped in a thick silence, broken only by the crunch of leaves beneath his feet. As he walked deeper into the winding trail, a faint glow appeared between the trees. Thinking it might be another villager carrying a lantern, he followed it cautiously. To his astonishment, he saw not a lantern but a woman standing in the clearing. Her figure was slender, her long black hair flowing freely, and her face unervingly beautiful. Yet something about her eyes, bright, almost glowing, made his heart pound in fear. "Lost, are you?" she asked, her voice soft yet unnaturally cold, sending a shiver down his spine. The air itself seemed to grow heavy, as though the forest held its breath. Armin, though trembling, managed to nod. He felt both drawn to her beauty and repelled by the unnatural chill surrounding her. The woman smiled faintly, but the smile did not reach her eyes. "Be careful where you wander. This forest keeps secrets not meant for men to discover." Before he could respond, the glow faded, and she vanished into the mist, leaving Armin shaken and uncertain whether he had met a woman or something far darker. The next morning, Armin woke restless, his mind haunted by the strange encounter in the forest. Had he dreamed it? The woman's glowing eyes, her chilling words, the sudden disappearance. It all felt too vivid to be mere imagination. Against his better judgment, curiosity gnawed at him, and by sunset, he found himself walking the same trail again. The forest was quieter than usual. The air hung heavy with damp mist, and the trees seemed to lean inward, as though guarding a secret. As Armin ventured deeper, he heard a faint whisper, a voice that seemed to call his name. His heart raced. Following the sound, he reached the same clearing where he had first seen her. This time, she stood waiting. Her beauty seemed sharper, more dangerous, like a blade hidden beneath silk. "You returned," she said with a knowing smile. Armin hesitated but forced himself to ask, "Who are you?" The woman's eyes flickered, catching a strange light. "Names are useless after centuries," she replied softly. Then, her tone grew darker. "I am bound to this forest. Long ago, I was cursed, left to walk these woods until I am freed, or until I feed." Her words struck him like a blow. The tales of the elders, of missing travelers, of whispers in the night, suddenly connected in his mind. She was no ordinary woman. She was a witch. Armin's instincts screamed at him to run, yet he remained rooted, torn between fear and an inexplicable pull toward her haunting presence. Armin stood frozen, the weight of the witch's confession pressing down on him. The forest around them seemed to grow darker, as though listening to their exchange. The woman stepped closer, her pale face illuminated by an eerie glow that came from nowhere. Her beauty was undeniable, but her presence carried the sharp edge of danger. "You need not fear me," she whispered, her voice slipping into his mind like smoke. "I can give you what you desire most. Wealth, strength, even the respect of those who dismiss you as a mere woodcutter. All I ask in return is your silence and your loyalty." Armin's breath caught. For a fleeting moment, he imagined escaping poverty, imagined his neighbors looking at him not with pity but with envy. The promise of power stirred a hidden longing within him, yet a shadow of doubt lingered. The elders' warnings about the forest returned to him. Everything that shines in darkness comes at a cost. Sensing his hesitation, the witch's smile widened, though it never reached her eyes. "I do not offer this lightly. Men have begged for what I can give. You have only to keep my secret, and stand by me when the time comes." Her words wrapped around him like chains. Fear and temptation battled within his heart. He wanted to refuse, yet he could not bring himself to speak. The witch leaned close, her voice a chilling whisper. "Think carefully, Armin. Some bargains last longer than life itself." For several nights, Armin returned to the forest, pretending to accept the witch's offer. He listened to her speak of forgotten powers, of rituals performed under blood-red moons, and of secrets buried deep within the soil. She seemed pleased with his silence, convinced that he was slowly falling under her spell. But beneath his calm mask, fear gnawed at him, pushing him toward another path. One evening, Armin slipped away to the edge of the village, seeking the counsel of the elder, Malik, a man known for his wisdom and knowledge of old legends. In the dim light of a flickering oil lamp, Armin whispered the truth, the glowing-eyed woman, her strange words, and her offer of power. Malik's weathered face turned pale as he listened. "You fool," the elder hissed. "That woman is no blessing. She is a witch, bound to darkness. She survives by consuming the souls of men. Many have disappeared into that forest because of her hunger. If she gains your trust, you will be next." Armin's chest tightened. The elder placed a trembling hand on his shoulder. "You must be careful. Pretend if you must, but never let her bind you. There are ways to weaken her, but it will require courage and faith." Leaving the elder's hut, Armin felt the weight of two worlds pressing upon him, the witch's promise of power and the elder's dire warning. He knew he was walking a dangerous path, one misstep away from losing his soul. The forest grew colder as autumn deepened, its trees stripped bare, their skeletal branches scratching against the night sky. Armin continued meeting the witch, pretending loyalty while secretly clutching the small leather pouch the elder had given him, a sacred amulet said to weaken creatures of darkness. He kept it hidden beneath his shirt, close to his heart. The witch, however, was not easily deceived. One night, she led him deeper into the woods than ever before. The path wound through twisted roots and patches of fog that clung to his skin like icy hands. At last, they reached a clearing where the moonlight seemed unnaturally bright, bathing the ground in silver. "Tonight," she whispered, her voice low and serpentine, "you will prove your devotion." Before Armin could respond, she raised her hands. Shadows poured from the trees, swirling around him like black smoke. The air turned heavy, stealing the breath from his lungs. Her eyes blazed with a hunger no longer hidden by her false gentleness. "You thought I wanted your loyalty?" she hissed, her voice echoing unnaturally. "No, Armin. I want your life." Terror surged through him as he felt his strength draining, his knees buckling under the weight of her magic. In desperation, he clutched the amulet beneath his shirt. The moment his fingers wrapped around it, a faint golden light broke through the suffocating darkness. The witch shrieked, recoiling as the amulet's glow burned against her shadowy magic. Armin realized then, her deception had failed, but the real battle had only begun. The forest had never felt so alive with dread. The shadows writhed like serpents, retreating only where the golden light of the amulet touched. Armin staggered to his feet, clutching it tightly, his chest heaving. Across from him, the witch glared, her beauty unraveling. Her face twisted, her eyes glowed like embers, and her long hair spread outward as if each strand had become a venomous snake. "You dare defy me?" she screeched, her voice splitting the silence of the night. The trees groaned as though in pain, their branches snapping under the force of her fury. Armin raised the amulet, but his arm trembled. The witch lunged, her nails long and sharp like daggers, slashing the air. He barely dodged, stumbling back as her scream rattled the very ground beneath him. Drawing every ounce of courage, he pressed the amulet outward. A wave of light erupted, meeting the witch's shadowy magic. The clash filled the clearing with a deafening roar, darkness and light colliding like a storm. She fought ferociously, her form shifting between woman and monstrous spirit. Her hair lashed at him, wrapping around his arm, burning his skin. Armin gritted his teeth, forcing himself to hold the amulet higher. The glow brightened, searing her shadows away piece by piece. The witch shrieked, her voice echoing like 100 screams in unison. The battle was no longer just about survival. It was the final struggle to break her curse or be swallowed by it forever. The clearing trembled under the fury of their battle. Armin's body ached, his hands raw from gripping the amulet, but he refused to let go. The golden light flared brighter with every heartbeat, forcing the witch to recoil. Her once beautiful form writhed in agony, her skin cracking like burning parchment. "You cannot destroy me," she howled, her voice a chorus of rage and despair. "I am bound to this forest. I am eternal." Armin shouted back, his voice breaking but defiant. "Not tonight." With one final surge of strength, he pressed the amulet forward. A blinding burst of light shot out, flooding the forest. The shadows screamed as if alive, twisting and burning away. The witch's figure shattered into smoke and fire, her scream echoing through the trees before vanishing into silence. Then, all was still. The mist lifted, the air grew lighter, and the suffocating darkness that had haunted the forest for generations was gone. Armin collapsed to his knees, his body trembling, his breath ragged. Though alive, his skin bore the marks of her attack, and his eyes carried the weight of what he had witnessed. With great effort, he stumbled back to the village. When the people saw him, they gathered in awe. Malik, the elder, declared him a savior, the one who had ended the witch's reign. The villagers celebrated, but Armin could not forget her final words. Deep within, he carried a lingering fear that somewhere, in some forgotten shadow, another witch might one day rise again.